Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the respected dignitaries, distinguished speakers, honorable participants, the loving audience, and all beautiful people present here from all around the globe. I, Ms. Nada Ratkoch, IIU board member, country director, IIU Croatia, IIU co-founder of Europe and president of Research Center, welcome you all to the day two of the International Conference on the theme on international and early childhood education, the starting process of lifelong learning, jointly organized by International Internship University, Global Community for Education 2030, and IIU Research Center. Yesterday, we have an amazing day. We have an amazing youth. We have an amazing guest speakers. And we start with this topic, very important and unique and special topic. If we don't take care about our early childhood of our kids, what will be with them? So let me first introduce our great organizer, Global Community for Education 2030 has been formed to promote and implement United Nations 2030 Agenda, the SDG 4 for making education accessible to all through partnerships, policy guidance, capacity development, monitoring, and advocacy. The 2030 Agenda for SDG is a plan of action for people, for planet, for prosperity from the comprises and for all 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goal 4 is the education goal to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and to promote the lifelong learning opportunities for the all. The founder is Professor Pradipta Mandal. He is the founder of Global Educators Forum and the Global Metaverse Community. Mr. Piyush Pandit is the founder of International Internship University and he is the president. Professor Nada Ratkovic is the president of IIU Research Center and she is the COO. Dr. Snikta Kadam is a COO of International Internship University and she is the chairperson of Global Community for Education 2030. IIU is leading virtual education system and it is a global brand confederation which is most valuable and trusted worldwide and well reputed to deliver innovative programs. Globally, it is a trusted name for quality training programs and is committed to provide better and virtual education to all the young learners of the globe. IIU is metamorphosing the conventional education system by cutting down the additional costs and providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses, internships with its 1,000 plus global educators. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit, Sir, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to the students from various social and cultural backgrounds. The sky is the limit for his dedication and hard work. IIU Research Center is also the organizer. IIU Research Center is a unique hub. It is giving an opportunity to researchers, authors, educators, students, scholars across the globe and enhances the research opportunities, academic excellence, real-world problem-solving, knowledge creation, and dissemination. The high-caliber global educators who are dedicated to the IIU Research Center here are carefully taking care about this consideration and making just a minute inquiring to describe, explain, predict, control the observed phenomena. Me, Professor Nadia Ratkovic, as a president of IIU Research Center, thinks if you have ever thought about how would be the world without education, research, science, innovation, technology, or any development of anything, then the IIU Research Center is the right place for you. So, we know and we are here and we want to say that let's acquire a knowledge of future education. Education can change the way you look at yourself and the world. A good education is the key to successful life. Think about that. Always have that on the mind. You will not have a successful life without a good education. We know that so many people around the globe don't have opportunities to have a good education. So do the right things. Help help how much you can help because we can make the world a better place only on that way. So let us cherish and adore the real value of the good education. Yes, you can. Yes, we can change the world with education. I will not talk longer. Today, I have a master of the ceremony. I have a master of a ceremony, an amazing, great educator from United Arabian Emirates. She is Professor Chandani Kinger. And today, she has so many abilities. Yesterday, our great Herdiana. Today, our great Chandani. Miss Chandani, I can say that she is one of the leading educators in United Arabian Emirates. So who is following her, who is her friend, can say, and no, I can say that she is a source of the knowledge. And yes, before I gave this IIU stage 2, my great master of the ceremony. Today we have also birthdays here. So Professor Karudin, where is the guitar?
Oh, my guitar is gone for
So
today.
now you need to sing happy birthday. Dr.
No.
Froley on the mobile has a birthday. Dear Professor
Oh, happy
Karudin,
birthday. I'm sorry
please.
because my guitar is at my other home.
Oh, no, you don't. So, okay, Professor Karudin, you need to do it next time because,
Okay, I will.
okay,
I
so
apologize.
Dr. Mobo, our great researcher by heart, happy birthday. And next time, Professor Karudin will play on the guitar. So, let's start this day too. Welcome, my dear Professor Chandani Kinger. The IIU stage is yours now.
Thank you, Professor Nanda. Thank you so much. And it's pleasure again to be here with all of you. Yes, as Miss Professor Nanda has already given my introduction, I'll just take a minute. My name is Chandni Kinger. I'm from United Arab Emirates, and I welcome you all to the International Conference of Early Childhood Education, the starting process of lifelong learning. And I think we all are part of this till date. So it is jointly organized by the Global Community for Education 2030, International Internship University, IIU, that is research centers. And to take this opportunity and to begin day 2 with such a delightful speech by Professor Nada, I would not be taking longer time, definitely. So let's introduce our first speaker for the day, that is Dr. Tiana. And to brief about her, she is the owner, CEO, concept director, executive directors for Calibre Books, LLC, founder of All Lives Do Exist and the Women's Lives Do Exist, global peace movement for the equality for all existence of life. So let's welcome Dr. Tiana from USA. So stage is all yours, Dr. Tiana.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, and good morning from the United States. And today I am going to discuss the importance on education for children and the growth and development of their mindset. So when a child is young, they go through different types of emotions, and they also go through different thoughts, and they need to be educated from teachers, professors, and even their parents at home. We have to give them encouragement to succeed in life, and we know that they can do anything putting their minds to perseverance. So I want to talk about perseverance and character building. When education comes into play, we have to accomplish the goal of knowing that the right thing to do is to teach them to put their best effort in first. So as long as they have encouragement from any teachers, any prospect development educators, we can let them know that they can accomplish their goals. We have to set goals for the students, especially at a young age, because again, the discussion today is based on building education from the ground up from the youth. So that could be determination of any age group from the ages of even 2 years old all the way to the ages of 18 years old plus when they get into universities and colleges. So we want to focus on the fact that we are teaching even preschool abilities starting from the ground up. Now, in this factor of education, we need to focus more on the ability of the beginning stages and taking baby steps to adjust the mindset of each child, because each child thinks and learns differently. And it doesn't matter about gender, or it doesn't matter about any of those inequalities. We're building equality here for education. We want to give everyone a free will of chance to learn things from the educators, the professors, the teachers, and the parents at home. So when you're dealing with this type of information, the innovations behind this is going to be patience, is going to be perseverance, is going to be guidance, and it's going to be determination to proceed to give them that equality of your time as the professor, as the teacher, as the parent, and as the leaders for giving these children encouragement to want to learn how to read, to want to learn how to do mathematics, to want to learn history, to want to learn science, to want to learn about technology. Now, we know right now technology is spreading worldwide. Students of all ages are now using tablets and technology devices to learn virtual understanding of knowledge. That goes for looking at film, that goes for listening to music, and other ways of art and creative mindset abilities. So education has a very wide range of learning aspects for students from the ages of the beginning stages of preschool all the way into the ability stages of university, plus educators that also learn from the students. So again, we are discussing more than one thing with one topic. This is the beginning stages of how to adjust your mindset to let these children be gifted, accept their spiritual gifts, expect them to do their best, but also let them be themselves. Let them show that creativity in all aspects of education, because we need them to be the future leaders of tomorrow. And if we can give them that hope that we care about them and care about their education, they will be prosperous in life. They will go the limit to exceed beyond their abilities of what we expect them to do. So again, you have to give these children a freedom of speech. You have to give these children freedom of hope. You have to give these children freedom of creative mindset thoughts to be able to give them that sense of mobility and morality. It's going to take acceptance and determination from the leaders that you all are as professors and teachers, doctors and lawyers and scientists, and so many educators in different occupations. But the ability here is to succeed and to let them learn from making mistakes and correcting those mistakes with compassion and light. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Tiana. It was really a pleasure to hear your voice and your words. And I think it has given a deep insights to all of us, especially when we are dealing with the young learners. It becomes really impactful for the educators and the mentors or the coaches to ensure that we give them the platform for freedom of speech or maybe the learning platform. And definitely that's something that you have shown us the insights on that. Thank you so much, Dr. Tiana, once again. And it was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Yes, moving to our next speaker, Dr. Moba, who is already here with us. So let me just introduce him. Dr. Moba is an assistant director and extension director at DRDE, I think, yeah. And he is from country Philippines. So let's have him on the stage. So stage is all yours. Welcome.
Good evening once again to my dear colleagues around the global community. Am I audible?
Yes,
Can
you
hear me?
are. Yes, yes.
Okay. Of course, the importance of early childhood education programs, especially on kids, be able to develop the social and emotional skills that would be able to flourish and complete the program, of course, in different levels. Of course, by getting grades and developing a lifelong learning on them, they would be able, of course, to acquire the abilities in a particular settings, like for example, listening, sharing, and taking turns with others. So it's very important, of course, for them, the lifelong learning journey between the early ages from birth and up to the succeeding level. So part of that, of course, through the creation, analysis, support, and expansion of programs, part of the early child care program that might improve, of course, their preparedness for the success in their schooling. But in addition, they have to engage and assist with their families in emphasis on meeting the needs of dual language learners and other communities by, of course, increasing the ability to maintain their objectives. And of course, there is a question that what is like to work in early childhood education. So part of that, of course, according to one of the philosophers or researchers, which is asserted by Alvarado, that a job in early childhood education might likely bring happiness to someone who appreciates dealing, of course, with children and wants to have a long-lasting impact on their lives. Although helping children might learn and develop is a large part of what is our profession nowadays as a teacher. But there are also many challenges for us to develop personally, both intellectually and in terms of our entire social and emotional development, that they can learn on how to lead others and become a thoughtful practitioner. So part of that, of course, in the program, it's very important to comply with the requirement on this area. And another, some of the biggest challenges that people working in early childhood education face, of course, is when they apply and implement that in classroom instruction setup, that become part of the challenge. So the more time they spend in the field, the more that they would be able, of course, to experience on those bigger challenges. And of course, sometimes they would be able to encounter mistakes in other flowness, which is part of the important area on their field. That's why it's very important, of course, to study this program and to be adapted. So that would be all on my part. Thank you. And once again, good evening.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Muba. It was a very great insights again on that. What are the challenges that the early childhood the educators or the teachers face? And I am working in a school, so definitely I know that how it becomes difficult, especially to deal with that young children who don't actually know what they are looking for or what the thought process that they are going with. So yes, these are the basic challenges that every educator face when they are especially dealing with the young learners and all. So yes, that was excellent from your side. Thank you so much, Dr. Muba. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, now let's move to the third speaker for the day. And I'll take from the country Peru, that is Professor Rubin, who is a director, a foreign language center at Universidad Peñíscola de las Americas, who is also a founder and CEO, Assertive Leadership College. And let's welcome Professor Rubin, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. This is a great pleasure for me to be here to talk about such an important topic, which is early childhood education. That is the starting point of lifelong learning. Simply put, early childhood education, that is considered the official term for teaching young kids. More specifically, it refers to formal and informal educational programs that guide the growth and development of children throughout their preschool years. We are talking about 5 years old of age. Children at this age are entirely dependent on their adult caregivers, including parents, daycare providers, babysitters, extended family members, and teachers. The early childhood education encompasses a wide variety of activities designed to promote children's cognitive and social development before entering kindergarten. Some programs primarily focus on school and academic readiness, while others embrace a whole child approach that emphasizes mental and emotional preparedness. One challenge of early childhood education, or one challenge for early childhood educators, is the fact that their work is often dismissed and devalued as simply playtime. This could not be farther from the truth. Why is the purpose, or what is the purpose of early childhood education? This is a very important question that we need to answer, because we need to consider different skills like language and literacy. But the language provides the foundation for the development of literacy skills. Learning to communicate through gestures, sounds, and words increases a child's interest. Thinking. Children are born with a need to understand how things work. In their everyday experience, they use and develop an understanding of math concepts such as counting and sorting, and problem-solving skills that they will need for school. Self-control. This is highly important because this refers to the ability to express and manage emotions in appropriate ways, and is essential for success in school and healthy development overall. This enables children to cooperate with others, cope with frustration, and resolve conflicts. And the one which is also very important, self-confidence. When children feel competent and believe in themselves, they are more willing to take on new challenges. Self-confidence is also crucial for navigating social challenges, such as sharing, competition, and making friends. And why is early childhood education important? The question why is that early childhood education is the reason why a large body of research suggests that programs in early childhood education can have a positive long-term effect on the lives of children. Children in early childhood education programs nowadays are less likely to repeat a grade, less likely to be identified as having special needs, more prepared academically for later grades, more likely to graduate from high school, more likely to be higher in the work atmosphere. So we need to prepare children for the future. That is what we always know, because children are the future of the nations. We need to prepare children thinking about their future as professionals, and better than professionals, the best human beings. This is my thought about early childhood education. And thanks for the opportunity to express openly what I think we should do. Be alert always, since the very beginning, because childhood education is the starting point for a long life learning. Thank you. Greetings from Lima, Peru.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruben. That was again a lovely, insightful thoughts. I really appreciate your professionalism, and I thank you for the points that you've made today, because early life learners, especially the lifelong learners to whom we are raising, it's definitely something where we need a core focus, and we have to show them the paths to proceed further in the life as well. So that was really insightful, informative. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruben, once again. Thank you to have you here today. With this, I move to the next speaker, Professor Mohammad Shahryar Parvez, who is a founder and CEO of an independent perception and research hub, a professor of tourism economics and ethics at ACHM. And Professor Mohammad Shahryar is from Bangladesh. So let's welcome him and take this opportunity to hear him as well. Stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you so much. Namaste. IIU Research Center and IIU, and also the Global Education Forum inviting me these kinds of platform, and I give my gratitude to Professor Nada and also dear respected brother Professor Pradipta and the respected brother Piyush Pandit. I want to share one slide with you if you just give me a permission. So I'm just sharing my slides.
Sure, sir, sure.
The slides is visible.
Yes, sir, absolutely visible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So actually, today we are talking about a fact that is called the early childhood education. And it's a very vital thing so far I concerned, because in a educational stage, we have the primary, secondary, and tertiary stage. Basically, I am related with the tertiary education because I was the professor of university and also still a professor of various university all around the world. But the point is here, one thing we must remember that early childhood education is a very serious issue nowadays because each and every time now the parents actually concerned with doctor that how can we develop the mental health of our child, because we are in a global village, and in this village, in this globalization, technology capture our minds also, our children minds also, because I have my little child, and he is always concerned, he is always playing the games in his mobile phone, and also see various types of social media things like I'm just mentioning some of them, like the Snapchat, like the YouTube, all the TikToks, all these things actually capture the mind of our child nowadays. Why we are concerning here this thing? Because these are very important issue in early childhood education, because if our children is not capture the norms from the culture, from the society, from the family, then it's not possible to develop the mental development of our child, early childhood, of our childhood, also the childhood education. Now come to the point that in early childhood education, it's also related with the sustainable future education. And in this early childhood education, we need some question around us that what does a young child needs, what is the role of a child, and what's the caregiver roles for developing the mental development of any child. Now we are in a point that the introduction the early childhood education, if we just introduction this thing, then we come to the point that our childhood age, because from birth to 1 year, then toddler 1 to 2 year, and also preschool stage is 3 to 5. So that is the main thing, the early childhood education. Yes, yes. So these are very crucial time, because children are always imitating, they are always capturing the thing from others. So it is very important for the parents, because we are only discuss our perception, but which actually develop the mental development of childhood education, that is their parents. Because I learned a from my mother, and I also think that each of you, I actually we learn this thing from our parents. So now we come to the point, in a preschool education is the development area of a social area, also it's a physical area, also it's a cognitive area. So each of this thing actually related with the mental development of our children. Now in a social or emotional development, we identify the feelings of self and other, also we identify the empathy, we establish the relationship, the bonding inside our child, and also we take some initiative that they ask why. Because my children, my child always ask me, dad, what is this, why is this thing, why and why. So these kinds of question, as a parents, you should meet up at the point of the early childhood educational era. Now come to the physical development. Here is the gross motor. The gross motor development is the running, jumping, balancing. So these are the mental development, the milestone for the preschool development. So here we must think that my child will go to school with a certain period of time. So as a parent, I should take this thing in my home. So we must ensure this thing at our home, at our culture. And also in a physical development, we have something like we show them that how to write, how to hold a pencil, how to draw a picture. So how to eat fork, how to use the fork and spoon. So as a parents, this is one of the point that in early childhood education, we are only the faculties, we are only the teacher, but parents play the main role. So I think it is a very important stage for early childhood education. And now another point is come, that is called cognitive development. In a brain development, because our neurons actually working, without we develop the neurons inside the brain of the babies, then it's not possible for them to develop themselves, because we know that in our brain system we have some folder each and every time. And if we remember, suppose if you ask me anything that from my age of 3 or 5, yes, I hardly remember 1 or 2 points, because I try to remember that thing in my folder, in the brain folder. So it is a brain development stage for a cognitive development era. Now come to the point, there are some stages. Actually the theory says there are some stages. So in the stage in the birth to 18 months, there are sensomotor stages. Also in the second stage they have the age 2 to 7, and also the third stage is concerned the operational stage, and also the final stage is at the end of their 16 of their age. So it is related. These are the theories, but we are concerning about the early childhood education. So these are the stages that how our children behave. So behavior, the affection, the behavior, the emotion, these are the main thing as a parents you must develop inside your children at the early childhood educational sector. Now there are multiple intelligence theory. I am not go through this thing, but yes, for a children we must say something that they are actively learning something. If they are actively learn, then I think it is very much supportive. If they need any support from the parents, we should ensure that yes, we should give this support. So we motivate them to learn. Yes, you learn. Sometimes I learn something from my child. That is because they are the generational thing. Like they are the boomer generation to generation X to generation Y. So these are the generational thing. So we must think about this. So this is a very important concern in our country. I'm from Bangladesh. Yes, in early childhood care and education, our government always try to develop the mental development of the children. And yes, we are always trying that each of our children go to school at a free of cost. This is the main success of our government in our country, and we are always give them the facilities of SDGs, because we are believe that in 2030 we must revolution. It's a revolution thing in educational sector, like in SDG 4. So yes, we are in our country, we are trying to develop this thing, and in our government we are always develop various things from the framework of various theories. So I think I have shortage of time, so I am not describing all these things, but the main thing is that yes, as an early childhood thing, we must ensure that we have the 5 R's, that is responsive, relation, reason, then reflective and recognition. And also we are added the 5 C's, that is critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, and characterization. So these are the things our child need at their early childhood sector. And yes, there are some problems, there are some limitation, there are workplace burnout or mental concern, lack of resources, then low level of compensation. These are the things. But yes, when you want to develop something, you must have some barrier. So you overcome that barrier inside your the mental development of your child. So I think happy Sunday for all of you, those who are actually seeing or watching us all around the world. And yes, if you want to do it, then fight for it. It is a very much important point for our children. And don't say I can't do it. Always say yes, I can do it. And this, as a parent, as a teacher, you must motivate the child because they need your care. So thank you so much for inviting me this kinds of important platform. And if anyone want to contact with me, so this is my this is my contact information, because we have now live in a global village. So you just scan it and you contact with me in my Facebook and LinkedIn. So thank you so much for inviting me this kinds of platform.
Thank you so much, Professor Parvez. I think we all should be clapping for him for taking us through all the activities that I think we all believe that we need for our young learners. And especially when Sir was talking, I just remembered the comments that I used to get from my past school. I'll just take a minute to describe that. The students were like a bit hyper, and when they come from particular country, we know that they always have that scenario in mind, that how they behave and all. So the parents used to say us as a teachers that I'm sending my child to you so that you teachers can make him to learn and teach something. So at that time, we also had a question, then what is the role of a parents in the child's life, right? Because all the basic discipline, mannerism, the behaviorism starts from the home. I believe that, right? So that was something that was coming up in my mind also at that time, that where is the role of a parent when the blame has to be taken by the teachers when the child is there for this in the school just for 8 hours and all. So that was something. And I think the theories that you mentioned about has given a lots of insights to all the teachers over here, all the people as an audience over here. And it was a deep dive into actually the early childhood education. And sir, your ideas, your personal experiences were really, really an inspiration to all of us in the audience. And definitely I have gained lots of insights from your presentation. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here. Thank you once
Thank
again.
you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, moving to our next speaker coming from Brazil, Ms. Wimla. Ms. Wilma is here with us, who is an international English teacher, international speaker, and let's have a voice from her as well. So Dr. Wilma, I think stage is all yours now.
Good morning from Brazil. Thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure. So today we are talking about something really, really important. And I have to confess that I have been reading about this a lot lately. First of all, because I am a teacher. And the second reason why is that because I am a mother and I have a 5-year-old daughter called Valentina. And then I've been reading a lot on how to engage them, how to teach them, how to respect them, because if you are a mother, you know that it's pretty hard teaching them and engaging them. And we are always asking ourselves, are we doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? What to do next? Oh my gosh, it seems like we never learn everything. We never know what to do. So I've been learning a lot, and I'd like to share with you some ideas that has been working around here. Education is a lifelong journey whose destination expands as you travel. This is from John Stowell, and this is a true thing. We are learning since we were born, and we have to respect that, because sometimes as teachers, we think that we are the wonders of the knowledge and that our kids are there just to learn with us. But if we consider this, we know that our children come from different families, they come from different background, and they have knowledge as well. So this is the first step, and then we should listen to them. Even if they are 3, to 4, 5 years old, they have a lot of knowledge, and we have to respect and learn from them. Here in Brazil, the basic education includes 3 levels. Every childhood, which encompasses creche, we call it creche, from 0 to 3 years of age, preschool, 4 and 5, and here is my daughter, and fundamental, which is divided into early ages, which encompasses first through 5th grades, 6 to 10 years of age, and late years, which is 6th grade, 11 to 14, and which correspond to primary and lower secondary education, and upper secondary that corresponds to 15 to 17 years of age. Here in Brazil, we also have the university, of course, and our government these days has been doing a great effort to motivate children to go to teenagers to go to school, motivate them to go to university. We have lots of low fees, and the government is trying to engage them to come to university. But unfortunately, not all children go to university because sometimes they think that it's expensive, and sometimes they need people telling them, and that the teachers and parents motivate them to go and have the high education. And it's really important for teachers and parents that we motivate our kids to learn since they are in early childhood. We've been working with some projects, and recently I've been talking about education. We've been working on a project called Educating for the Future, and we are engaging teachers and teenagers the importance of studying. So we have a project, and we are bringing and talking with mainly with girls to empower them, to teach them that yes, they are able to go to university, yes, they are able to have a good education. But I can see that these should start with parents and family. Since they are small, we should talk with their parents about teaching them, engaging them to study. Because if we don't work from children since they are really small, the importance of studying, the importance of being active, when they get at high school, they will give up and they will think that they are not able to go to university, they are not able to have a good job. And then I can see, and our government is also learning that we have to focus on early education since children are really small and work with their families as well. Learning is a lifelong process. Science has demonstrated that early years are critical in brain development. From birth onward, children's experience and opportunities contribute to building strong foundation skills set for life. During this period, children begin to see themselves as capable lifelong learners and doers. So in this period of life, this is the most important part for children. When they are really young, before they are 3 years old, our brain is being developed. So it's our role as parents, it's our role as teachers, showing the children that yes, they are able to do. Because sometimes we think, oh, they are just children, and we are parents and they have to do what we are telling them. But what are they feeling? Are we listening to them? Are we giving them the moment to tell about themselves? Are we listening their reasons? Because my girl is 5 years old now, so sometimes she starts crying and then I get some angry. But if I stop and talk with her, okay, what is happening? She always has a reason why she's crying, why she's misbehaving. So if we stop and listen to them, there's always a reason. And when we listen to them, we are showing that we care, we show that we love them. And as teachers, we have to do the same. We have to listen to them and give them time to talk and express their feelings. Lifelong learning is the responsibility of families, educators, and for sure the community. Children learn about themselves and the world in which they live through interaction with others. And as they do so, they are in the process of performing their self-perception. Developing a healthy self-perception is supported by responsive relationships, effective communication, and partnerships between and among parents, families, educators, caregivers, and communities. We have been having a hard time here in relation to engage the family to come to school. If it isn't enough just working with kids at school. We have to bring parents, we have to engage the family and show them that the life learning process is also up to them. So they have to help, they have to work with the homework at home. And we have to bring parents and make them aware that the education, our part as teachers at school, we are there to teach Portuguese, in my case, Portuguese, English, math, and other skills, but respect, love, and all these skills should come from home. Unfortunately, in some schools, mainly public schools, we can see that our children bring these skills from home. Unfortunately, they don't learn how to share. Unfortunately, they don't learn how to respect each other. And then we teachers have a harder work at school. And then if we bring the family, if we teach them how important they are, that they are the ones in charge of making their children safe, teaching them how to believe in themselves, it becomes easier for us teachers working with them. But unfortunately, sometimes we have to be the teachers, the psychologists, the mothers. Most of the time they come and hug us. And then when we give them the students the support, when we show them that we are there to listen to them, they become free to talk and tell us about their lives, and they feel that we care about them. And it helps a lot as teachers to teach them about anything. All children are active learners, focusing on educators as leaders of learning, or focusing on children as active and capable leaders of their own learning. Children are naturally curious and rich in potential. Thus, they should feel like active and value contributors with strong sense of belonging. When we recognize that children are leaders in their learning, we are more responsive in developing and delivering programs and services that activate their capabilities and ensure their present and future well-being. So they are active learners and they have the knowledge, even if they are 3 years old, as I said before, and we have to respect that. And as teachers, I can see that sometimes we are not aware of how important our profession is, because we are worried about teaching them what the book has, the content on the book. Oh my gosh, I have to finish the book. I have to finish the book. Some teachers say, and we feel under pressure that we have to finish the material and we have to do lots of activities. And then we forget that the most important thing is our children. What are we doing with them? And sometimes when I bring some different projects, when I suggest working with some different projects, then the principal says, okay, but we don't have time to do all these projects. But I can see that working with projects that will make them able to trust each other, that will make them more friendly, that will make them able to communicate with people from other countries, that will make them able to believe in themselves. I guess these projects are much more important just than following and completing the books. Don't you agree with me? And what about in your countries? Isn't the same, unfortunately, that you have the material to follow, you have to work 100 pages in 3 months? All right, but what are they learning in an effective way? So, but I'm sure, and I hope that in the future, things will be a little different. We are working on that, and I hope that we can do that. And this is something that makes me really sad because play is the way. Research demonstrates that high quality early learning programs equally incorporate all areas of development in an inclusive and holistic manner. Moreover, children who participate in quality early learning programs do better later in life in terms of educational attainment, employment, and income. So play is the way. Teaching the children in a way and where they play, it's important. And I can see in our schools that they have just some minutes to play, and mainly when they are in preschool, they are worried already in learning how to write, learning how to read. And when they go to first grade, forget about playing because they there is a pressure that children must learn how to write, how to read, and but they are just 6 years old, and then at school here they don't have time to play anymore as they were used to do before. And then children from first grade, they get anxious because they can see that they don't have the time to play anymore, and teachers are worried that they have to follow the material, a lot of things to teach them. But what about playing? They learn better when they are playing, when they are enjoying time with each other. And then this is something that I've been talking with teachers and trying to show them that it's really important, but schools don't work like that, unfortunately. And last week I had a meeting at school with the teachers and I asked them, okay, when is the time for them to play? And they say, okay, they will have 10 minutes. In my case, in Valentina preschool, they will have 5 minutes after the break. Is 5 minutes enough for them? Can you imagine children sitting on the chairs for 4 hours at school and they have to be there sitting and they can't stand up, they can't walk around the classroom, they have to be there, well behaved, sitting on the chairs. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. I get anxious. Can you imagine a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid sitting on the chair? Oh, they have to learn how to behave. Come on, they will have the rest of their lives to learn how to behave as adults. Let them be the children they are. We are killing their childhood because we are worried to teach them to read, to write. They will have the rest of their lives for that. Let them be the children they are now because this is the only chance they have. In the future, they will be. We will be asking them to behave like teenagers and have lots of responsibilities. Later on, as adults, they will be in companies and they will be mothers and they won't have time to play anymore. And they will be frustrated because they didn't have the time to play and to enjoy life as kids. So life learning from the beginning in early childhood is really, really important. But what are we doing to give them this right of being kids and learning the skills, learning how to love people, how to care about others? This is the time they have to learn all these skills. In the future, they have time to learn about other things. When children are engaged in purposeful play, they are discovering, creating, improvising, and expanding their learning. So when we are able to teach them in a way where they feel that they are enjoying the process, that they are playing, they will learn better and they will become what we want they become. And the most important thing is we have to teach them to believe in themselves since they are babies. We have to teach them that we are there for them, that we care about them. And when we teach that they have to believe in themselves, that they need to believe in themselves since they are really small, in the future they will become whatever they want, even if they don't have money for that, even if they don't have much even if they don't have many opportunities, they will try and go for it. This is the sentence that I listened from my father and mother since I can remember myself as a living being. Believe in yourself. And I believed in myself, and today I am here talking to you, and I believe the power of this sentence. And this is what I have to teach our children and teenagers. Believe in yourself that you are able to do anything, and show them the way to do that. So thank you so much once more for having me here. It's always a pleasure learning and being here with you. Thank you so much.
Yes, again, a clap for Dr. or Professor Wilma, because I think I can just say the thing that the way you discussed that how it is really important for the young learners, not giving them the bookish knowledge, but definitely we have to give them the platform where they learn with their own thinking, their own opinions, and their mindsets. And definitely, if I think about a Bloom's taxonomy, that also again specifies the same thing. Give them the platform at the top to create something or to come up with something with their own abilities. So that was really an insightful session from your side again, and you have captured everyone's attention definitely, and given a deep dive into what we have to work with when it comes to the young learners or at the early years, right? So thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you at this platform. Thank you. Yes. I'll go back to India once again, and let's hear a talk from Miss Sharmila Sengupta. And talking about her, she is a headmistress at Barisha Jan Kalyan Vidyapith for girls from Kolkata. So let's have Miss Sharmila over here, and let's hear a few words from her. Ma'am, stage is all yours.
Hello, everyone. This is Sharmila. I have been listening to what everyone is saying from around the world, and I believe in all those things. And I strongly feel that our children are losing their childhood. I was hearing Wilma, and I really felt that everywhere around the world, perhaps the pressure of being an adult is being imposed on children so unfortunately that they are losing their childhood. The same thing I would say is happening in India. I would go into a few specific details. The first and foremost, in India, there is an act called the Right to Education, which states that every child from the age of 6 to 14 has the right to free education in India. So believing in this policy, free education is provided to every child during this age. That is till the upper primary age, it is available free throughout India. So we have government schools, public schools, which provide this education to every child, where practically no money is taken. And there are large number of incentives given from the government, like from clothes, that is the school uniform, to bags, to shoes, to everything possible, books and pens and paper and everything. Even bicycles is given around India, where students from remote villages can come on their bicycles to the school and get education. So this is all being provided by the government of India. There is another brilliant scheme which I have seen living in an A1 plus city in India to be very, very effective for the population around India, called the midday meal scheme. It is the largest scheme that is there in the world, where children are provided free food, good quality, nutritious food in the schools. And this has been a program which has been going on for quite some time in India, quite popular around the world, where every child gets good nourishment in the school itself. So nice to see Wilbur bringing her child here. The people we are talking about, we need to have that representation too. Very nice to see her here. Thank you, Wilma. And in this scheme, what we have seen effectively in schools is that children are getting the nutrition that they so very much require from the school itself. How has this affected schools? In schools, we see a large number of children coming in, like I would say in my school, who are from extremely under-resourced families, who do not have the means to provide one nutritious meal to their children. That is the state still in parts of India, in different cities of India even. Also, what we find that there are many children who do not have their parents, who are orphans coming from homes. Like in my school, they do come. So they come in for that one nutritious meal that the school provides, and how much of a difference that can bring in the cognitive development of the child is something that is seen in India. Now, in India, just like in any other country, we have a large amount of disparity where under-resourced children are going to public schools, whereas there are many, many private schools, thousands in fact, everywhere, where you have the richest of the people, the ones with the resources going. Now, education is quite different in both the cases. But what is same, I find, in all the places is that what is being taught and how it is being taught. It has been seen that in every place, be it private or public, the demand from parents or from educators has been to teach them something rather than expecting the children to learn something. Well, there's a basic difference, according to me, between the two. We are so busy as teachers to teach something that we hardly care about the fact that are the children learning anything? Now, that is something that has bothered me always. So in my school, as a school head, I have tried every means possible to make the change. So to see that the child gets to learn something and the internal changes come within the child, or what is required in the child, rather than imposing learning on the child in the form of teaching. In early childhood education, I have always felt that there are certain things that are very important to develop in the child. First and foremost, the child needs to develop life skills. The fact that the child is a global citizen and has to lead his or her life on their own. The skills to develop that comes from a very early childhood age. In schools, we need to develop that. The curriculum never points towards that, but as teachers, we need to formulate the curriculum to suit that need of the child, I believe. Teaching empathy to the children, teaching fellow well-being for the other citizens, for the global world, and for just their friend in school is most important. As adults, when we are in a competitive world, we still understand that teamwork becomes very important to get something done. That thing needs to be developed among children. They need to learn these things from a very young age. Now, can that be imposed? I would rather say, let it come out internally from the children. Let them play. And with the play, they understand that if 5 of us are in a team, we win a game rather than if I play it individually. So this is something that the children learn on their own. Empathy is something that is so much required in every human being these days. In my school, I have tried to bring in inclusive education, inclusivity among the students. So the result of that is that every child who is a child with some sort of disability is also welcomed in the school and in the classroom by every teacher and by their fellow students. Now, that is something I look forward to, because we need to respect the disability of a child, of anyone. All of us as adults, or even when we think ourselves to be strong-bodied people with no disability, there are so many forms of disability that maybe we are missing around. Now, children need to develop that, and they are the best people who can understand it. This is something that I have tried in my school. Another thing that is very important for us to understand as teachers, I have felt, is that the love for learning should develop within the child from a very young age. Somehow, the children dislike learning by the time they are in the primary school or in the upper primary level. The reason for that is, I believe, us teachers, because we generally go on teaching them such a lot of things, learning this, learning that, and making it such a difficult task for them that the love for learning is lost somehow. That I love doing this or I love doing that, I love finding new things, is gone by the time they are in their primary school stages. So that love for learning should be intact while they are children, so that as when they are adults, it should keep on growing, or it should bring in motivation and inspiration to them. So this is something I look forward to in pre-primary and primary levels, where the love for learning of different things. Children learn from their environment. So bringing in environment is very important, I believe, in the child's early development stage. Like teaching sustainability in the classroom through a book does not really happen. It happens if you internalize it, if you learn it from your childhood, that I need to protect my environment. I need to protect the things around me, because this is what makes my world. And because I am in this world, it is my responsibility to look after it. So these are things which are not there in the syllabus, or they are not there in the curriculum generally, but we need to do it within the curriculum with the structure which we have. Now, it is really very difficult for teachers, because they have this always thing that I have been given this book and I have to do this part of the book, and that needs to be done. In my school, I cannot make a change in every place, but in my school, there is full liberty for the teachers that they decide how they are going to do a certain thing within a project, so that ultimately the child learns something nice and good and takes back a life learning, something that they can use and utilize in their environment. So as a school head, as long as I was a teacher, I've been a teacher for too long now. So as long as I was a teacher, there were many liberties that were not given to me. So by the time I have become a school head, I give that full liberty to my teachers. So they have all this amazing power that they can go ahead and do things that they love with the children, so that the children learn something, and something that is effective in today's world. Learning communication, learning creativity, collaboration is all part of the education that we should bring in the children's life. There's one important thing that I would love to say here, is that somehow during teaching or in the life that we are giving our children, we are forgetting that the children's mental health is extremely important in today's world. The pandemic has shown us that the mental health of each and every human being is extremely important. It has brought in ideas which were not there before, which were not explored before, and not even spoken on any forum before. Adult mental health education, as well as children's mental health education, is something very, very important. I have stressed on that in my school and seen to it that the children get the support and the environment where they can speak, and there are people to listen to them when required. So this is something that schools should support, and I believe every school head should look into what is important in the child's learning. Is it the marks? Is it getting good grades? Yes, it is important. Not that that is not important. Definitely getting those grades when they are in the 10th or in the 12th, which will lead them on to further education. But the primary part of the education should be teaching them life skills to cope with themselves, with their mental health, and with the environment in large. So these are things that I look forward to. Parents, community members, and teachers, I have got full support from. When I was initially introducing these ideas in my school, many of my teachers felt apprehensive. They said the parents are never going to accept such ideas. They are going to look forward to only marks. So I said, let us talk to them. Communication is the best form of understanding another person. So what we did is brought in the parents, had discussions with them. The parents were absolutely thrilled to hear that the school is thinking on those lines. So after all, we are all human beings. We want the best for our children, and we want the same things for them worldwide. It's just that policymakers make it very difficult and give us such difficult, tough stuff that we think that this is imposed. But I have always been a believer that policy is for making, but doing is what I would like to do with my children. So that is something that I have seen happening. Sharing and teamwork, these are extremely important among teachers to understand that what we are giving our children will come back to us in many different ways. So this understanding, this vision needs to be for the whole school. It cannot be a single person's vision and children getting effective training from that. It has to be the whole school understanding that we are leading towards something which is good for the children. Last, what I would like to add here is the last thing that I strongly believe is, let us help our children to learn to be happy. That is something which is the most important ingredient in life. Let our children learn happiness around them, search for it. It doesn't need to be things which we learn through monetary help or getting it through money, but simple pleasures of life that can give us happiness. Let us teach our children to be happy just because they have got a new book. I help the children in my school when they get their new books at the beginning of the term to just smell the book and see the fresh smell of a book and learn to love that. These are the simple pleasures that we need to make our children realize that when the raindrops fall on the grass and there's a beautiful smell, we need to enjoy that. This environment is fast depleting and there are things in it which are amazing, and we need to teach our children that. I think this should be learning and this should be teaching. I'm trying to do it in my school. I hope the world also sees it in this light and some changes happen in our children's life. Thank you so much from India.
Thank you, Ms. Sharmila. I think your experience has spoken much louder than your words as well. And it has been really precisely that we could make it out that how your experience actually has been implemented in your school, and definitely you have been a good leaders for sure, and your teachers would be proud of you for sure. Yes. So thank you so much, Ms. Sharmila. That was a pleasure to hear you and your experience, especially when we talk about the young learners. Definitely it has its own impact when we are talking to make them a lifelong learners. So thank you so much, ma'am, to be here today. Thank you once again. Yeah, I'm moving back. I'm going to a new country, and that's something Canada, from where we have the another esteemed speaker, DTM1 Eric Tendok. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And let me introduce our speaker, who is an author, a communication coach, and a mentor. So let's have some words from Canada as well. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mom, and good morning from Alberta. It's 4 o'clock here, past 4 o'clock in the morning. So today our topic is about early childhood education. So what is early childhood education all about? First, before I will dwell on that, I would like to mention that I work in an early childhood education for not less than a year because I was into other field education. So anyway, my background is into teaching as well too here in Canada. But before moving here in Canada, I was a licensed teacher in the Philippines before. So I had this brief experience of working with children, so I teach them. So early childhood services, or we call it ACS, includes kindergarten and educational programming for children as young as 2 years and 8 months of age. That's very young, 2 years and 8 months of age. So what is early childhood education? It refers to educational programming for children before they enter grade 1. That's very young for them. Early childhood services includes both pre-kindergarten programming dedicated to children who require additional support. So they should be nurtured, taken care of. So your watchful eye should be with them, unlike when you teach high school, grade 6, grade 5. So they require more attention. And fun fact, do you know that Alberta, the province of Alberta here in Canada, is the only province that supports early childhood services? What does it mean? It means that among all the province in Alberta, we call it province in United States, the equivalent is state. Okay, so among all the states of Canada, Alberta is the only one funding the ACS, or early childhood services. They give monetary support to all the early childhood services here in Alberta. Alberta is one big province of Canada. There are other provinces of Canada that includes Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, or Ontario. Okay? But in Alberta, it's one of the biggest and richest province of Canada. That's why everything here is free. Alberta government is not only funding free for the early childhood services, it's also funding the healthcare. So it's free healthcare. Although entire Canada it's free healthcare, Alberta is the one paying the Albertans, the healthcare system. That means to say we don't need to spend single centavo for our healthcare. Now, same with true, the process is also the same with Albertans government funding the early childhood services. So there is a corresponding money for every children. So this is one advantage of living in Alberta compared to other provinces of Canada. And of course, Alberta compared to the cost of living of allowance, it's not as high as in other provinces. So going to this Alberta or ACS program, the overview here is early childhood services. Of course, they refer for the programming for a young children. It will also include programming dedicated who require additional supports for kindergarten. So what is pre-kindergarten? Okay. Pre-kindergarten is for children who require support to prepare them for kindergarten and grade 1. So this is the ACS, Early Childhood Services in Alberta, Canada. Children eligible include those who are learning English as a second language. So as you know, in Canada, it's multinational. It's diversified. So there's a lot of immigrant. I'm an immigrant. So the pre-kindergarten here in Alberta for the ECS program, it helps children learning English as a second language. That's the number one program for the pre-kindergarten. Number two, it's requiring Francophone programming. That means to say they are helping them learning French, as French is also the second official language of Canada. So there are two official languages of Canada, the English and French. Number three, the ACS program, they are focusing on the gifted and talented young children. Another one is those diagnosed with mild, moderate, severe disability, or a delay in language that is moderate or severe. That is the focus of the Alberta ACS. Now, with those children with a severe disability or a language delay that is moderate or severe may start pre-kindergarten at age of at least 2 years and 8 months. All other children may begin at the age of 3 years and 8 months. So you can just imagine, as a teacher of these young children, they require watchful eyes, they require more attention and care. So this ACS program, we call it actually daycare here. So when you hear the word daycare, it refers to the early childhood program. So that is the basic term, daycare. So this will be like their second home away from their home. So I work 8 in the morning until 4. So I deal with the children, small children. And sometimes it's difficult to understand them, right? Not because of the language barrier, but because they're just starting to talk. And you need a listening skill here because you are dealing with 2 years old and 3 years old children. So once they are into pre-kindergarten, they will transition to kindergarten. Okay, so what is kindergarten? It's the year prior to entry into grade 1. We call it kindergarten. So children must be at least 5 years old as of December 31st of the year they have started kindergarten. Okay. So what is the ACS supports for 2021 until the later part of 2022? Again, as I mentioned earlier, for those who miss it, Alberta government or the province of Alberta is the only province supporting ACS or early childhood services / daycare. Okay. So in 2021-2022 alone, Alberta government is directing an additional 40 million to improve and expand learning assistance to young children with disability and delay in language. The additional support for program unit funding and specialized learning support grants include the following. Number 1, adding a new funded category to support children with moderate language delays. Number 2, it increased hours per parent in child engagement session eligible towards funding. There's a funding from the government. And we always say, the best thing in the world is free. I hope everyone here will agree with me. The best thing in the world is free. Number 3, a restructured and dedicated kindergarten funding envelope to provide equitable funding to school boards. Number 4, a clearer guidance to school authorities to assist in appropriately identifying children for funding purposes, and a 1-year program unit funding adjustment for smaller size ACS operators. Okay, so ACS operator refers to the one operating as a daycare in every town or city of the province of Canada. And lastly, extending registration deadline for the school year for all eligible children with severe disability or a language delay is moderate, maybe severe. So we give funding here for those children with severe problem on language delay. So children in Canada are the number one priority. This is what I like in this country, because government, not only the provincial government of each province, but also the federal government or entire Canada, they focus and provide attention to the children. And do you know that in Canada, if you're already a citizen, regardless of your country of origin, there will be a specific amount the parents receive from the government. That means if you have 4 children, then you're receiving money. This is on top of the ACS or Early Childhood Education Program, which is funded. But if you have children here, you are receiving money from the government until the age of 18. That's why it's nice to work, live here in Canada, because your children's getting funded from the government on top of the ACS. Okay, so when you put your children to early childhood, it was funded by government, not excluding the amount of money you receive from the government. So if you have 6 children, then you are receiving 6 support from the government. So this is where the money of Canada going to. It provides free healthcare, It gives you funding for every children or child you have. But just in the province of Alberta alone, it supports the funding of early childhood services, or commonly known here in Canada as daycare. Okay? For those parents who are working, of course, they have to leave their children to any daycare school. That's how the focus of government in Canada on the early childhood education. And it's right. All over the world, many children are not having this opportunity to enroll or the opportunity to learn in ACS or early childhood education. I myself, when I was still young, I did not go to kindergarten. I immediately go to grade 1 alone. Why? Because it's not free. Right? So it's difficult for teachers to teach grade 1 immediately without undergoing kindergarten or early childhood education. Imagine the hardship, the dedication of teachers in grade 1 teaching 7 or 6 years old kid. And sometimes in one school, how many? What is the average? You know the average. You are almost all teacher here. You know the average for grade 1 and grade 2, average size, right? So imagine the hardship of a teacher teaching grade 1 student in other countries because they did not undergo kindergarten or they did not undergo early childhood education. This is the important part of supporting our children in a higher learning because we do have this so-called ACS or early childhood services to prepare them for a better learning when they reach the age of 6 or 7 or when they enter grade 1. I was fortunate to experience that this is what's happening in early childhood services in Alberta alone because of the free funding from the government. Imagine the whole world, even the second world countries, third world countries, if the government can support each development of their children, right? That's why people here in Canada are very fortunate to access the free assistance from the government when it comes to early childhood, when it comes to healthcare and other aspect of their life. Imagine their beauty in life. But the unfortunate thing here is there are still many people who they are not actually being grateful or they just neglect that kind of support, that kind of assistance given to them by the government. Okay? So I'm just hoping that other countries in the world, particularly the third world countries, they can have this support for early childhood services so that they will prepare these young children before they enter elementary or grade. Thank you very much for me. That's all about Alberta specifically that I mentioned. And over to you, Madam. Thank you for having me and congratulations to all speakers and to all organizers.
Let's clap for sir. And sir, thank you so much for being with us today. And I was just to take a moment to express my gratitude for your time and expertise. And we could feel the passion and the knowledge that you have shown to us while you were talking about specifically to the country where you are actually experiencing what is going through and how the education system is being carried out in that particular region. So definitely, sir, your contributions today has helped us a lot to understand the education system, especially for the young learners in a particular region or particular country. So thank you so much to have you here, sir. Thank you once again. I would just take a moment to proceed further to our next esteemed speaker, Mr. Mansoor Shah, who is from Pakistan. And Mr. Mansoor is a senior Cambridge English language teacher and a trainer in his own country. So let's welcome Mr. Mansoor Shah And let's hear his thoughts and the points.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm visible to everyone. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are visible. You are audible. We can proceed. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for providing such an opportunity. Well, I'm teaching at Beacon House, Peria Town, and things are different here because they have organized such structure for the early childhood, what we call like the play group. Well, in the play group at Beacon House, they just provide them activities, not some writing notes. They give them some toys, they're going to name them, they give them some activities, they're going to perform, they give some video, like they're going to assess like what type of animals that are being performed in the video. And then they're going towards the alphabets and they're going to recognize the alphabet as well. My son, he's out studying at the play group. So what they do, if a child likes like the pink color, so he is just giving the character of the Barbie doll. And if the child is like the blue color, they're just showing them a sky and they're going to discuss something. The poems and the rhythm of poems matters a lot because it's a frequent activity. One more thing at our school is that they just give them the characters in a mini drama and they're going to perform. Well, childhood is the most important and the effective part of one's life. It is the creation of human historical development and is the relative late result of men becoming. Whatever people grow like is mainly because of childhood periods, learning. In the early days, when primitive childhood did not exist, as soon as the child would barely walk and fend for himself, the child education is crucial to develop learning habits in children. Like our school, they just tell them how to walk, how to talk, how to sit in the class, how to pronounce the word teacher, how to pronounce the word sir. So when we talk about education, we are not referring only to the the understanding of academic knowledge. All the information that we collect is the first year of life that help us to function in the world and to develop fully as people. That's why childhood education is important. Well, in this first 6 years, first like the Montessori we're talking about, then the play group, then the nursery, and the KG, well, the best condition exists to acquire the tools that will allow us to develop and function in any situation throughout their lives. Hence, the importance of education, the first moment of child life. The child learning process and the growth as a person depends on this message, intellectual and emotional connection. When we say emotional connection, here we say that like a Montessori teacher knows that how a child feels about like certain things. Does he like some food like cherry and strawberries? And does he like some some sort of sandwiches? So that is basically a job of teacher to make emotional attachment with the student, with that small child, because just step in the class. So that is why it's important to provide a healthy and education for children. Childhood education is a path to full development. It provides your idea and concept for the future. Well, I say it's a foundation of the learning. Their child is becoming a scientist in future because in the early childhood, he likes to play with the aeroplane toys. That child is becoming a doctor because he likes the stethoscope and other medicine. And the teacher job is to recognize those wishes and aspire in that early age. The second is confidence. Trusting oneself gives us the strength to face daily adversities. It also helps to face problems, so one can achieve personal success. Well, happiness, confidence in oneself as well as in one's ability, it is a key to not giving up, achieving the goal. Achieving the goals we have set allow us to develop as people while providing us with great well-being and therefore happiness. Now, in early childhood, the teacher recognized, like my son is there, the teacher is just calling me that he's crying. So at that time, it's my job to make him calm down, to make him relax, not to impose something on him to do action. So emotional attachment, bringing happiness, giving them new learning, okay, these all are the important parameters of early childhood. Now why is the communication important in early childhood? The upbringing that allows a child to grow holistically, physically, mentally, and socially. It includes food, health care, production, cognitive skills, emotional stimulation, and affection. This all matters a lot. Also, the safety of environment. This is the responsibility of families, but equally to the states who must ensure access to equality education and health services. As we know, that The experiences a child has in both family and other environmental such as schools are fundamental. Like in the morning when the child is going to school, you mean to say like, okay, have a good day, use the word, or the good morning. The child is learning a sentence. When the child is coming back and he said, I have a good day, and asking, how are you? So these are important part of the sentence that a child is going to learn. So it means that you being parent and their child is making a trica in that early childhood education. It's observed in the physical and motor well-being, language skills, understanding a mathematical concepts, plus, minus, moreover the ability to sustain attention, self-regulation, the learning process and emotion, among others. Now, numerous studies suggest that childhood education develops the ability to understand and break words into their fundamental sound. Obviously, we say phonetics, sounds, a study of sounds. So their study of sounds are attracting them. They're going to catch them and they're learning that how the word alphabet A looks like. What does B sound loud? What does C sound? So B, Ka is basically the first three principles the students are learning, and they're making the sentence and the words with that. So as far as the approach to concepts are concerned, knowledge of numbers and ordinary from the initial level affects the incorporation of more complex in the area. Furthermore, this early child education is basically the beginning of the journey of the child towards his like higher level education. These are the functions that in turn give rise to other important skills such as the ability to remember the information necessary to complete a task, doing a class activity, doing the group activity, resist inappropriate impulsiveness, situations, sustain attention, and set goals. Also plan how to achieve them, monitor the results and manage others' emotions. In the early childhood, give them a class activity, like coloring activity. They are going to paint, to appreciate them. So they are going to like the drawing activity. So these processes occur slowly from fancy to different stages, such as imaginative play, regulated play, and physical activity helps promote them. Of course, the role of a teacher matters a lot, central to the bond that know how to build with the children. They support them and make them feel safe and calm. The interaction between peers is very important. Give them the calm connection between them. It is at a bridge in the relationship between the children and the environment. We mediate in their relationship and to large extent stimulate that bond depending on us. There's nothing of higher priority to therapy. How to win the child. Just become them. Just become with them. Just say, okay, you should be friendly with him or her. Then you're going to win the child. Comprehensive, effective, sustained, and quality investment in our children matters a lot. So we should win the trust of a child. The civil society efforts matters a lot. The private sector and of course the state. For this reason, comprehensive policies and programs for early childhood must be state policy. Now, what are the benefits of early childhood education? An important question. One of the factors that most influence the advancement and progress of people in education. Education makes us human beings, as enriches our culture, spirit, and values. And from that, we are going to gift it to our children. But why is early childhood education is important? Numerous investigations show that exposure of diverse and stimulating experience during the first year of life, it is decisive for the development of the brain and the personality of the children. So we mean to say that early childhood is a point where a child is learning about a language, learning about himself or herself, learning about the environment, about the parameters, learning about some skill that he wants to be. So it means to say that a teacher's, a mentor play a positive role to imprint his mind with such a positivity that he can become a good citizen in future. This means that development of a child up to age of 5 will be strong projection of the performance, that he will have his first year of school as well as in adulthood. The development plan was proposed for children to obtain satisfactory result, which is why together with the social fund, they decide to invest in education, implement the initial child education program for children. Now in our country, there are such programs that are aligned with the education principles, such as the education must promote creativity, innovation, two important ideas. That is, must encourage the production of new knowledge, give them the creativity and good thoughts in all the fields. These are based on playful methodologies focused on the preschool children. In addition to responding to the strategic objectives set for the development of regional education, it is quality learning. So quality learning matters a lot. Your child is going to school and is spending 6 hours. This is your job as a parent, as a mother and a father, that how your son and daughter productively spend those 6 hours. You should have a good interaction with the teachers. Talk about his weaknesses and strong areas. So that is the function of early childhood, that monitor your child. Okay, improve human skills. Okay, give them a small task so he can perform in a group. The peer interaction matters a lot here, and thus achieve a successful transition from initial to secondary learning. So to make a better society, let's focus on early child education, right? It will contribute and help train the adults as we want to make a change in the region and country. One of the factors that most influence the advancement and progress of people in education. Last but not least, the question of why early child education is really matters a lot in our society and how it's impacting our society positively. So the importance of early child education sounds not to be underestimated. That of course has a large component of family support. But even in case where the child can stay at home or with the grandparents, it is also important that they go to initial training centers where there will be developed skills at the hand of professors, educators, or mentor. The skills such as socialization, respect for others, and the creation of habits, among others. So countries and governments that have adopted some all of these policies, like Pakistan, share a strong public commitment to young children and their families in different ways. These countries have made efforts to ensure that easy access is available to all children. Also, they have initiated special effort for those who need special support. Meanwhile, notable progress has been made in policy development and implementation countries participating in recent year. There are still such challenges to respond. I still believe that feel, focus, and fly will be the slogan of every mentor and education. Feel the problem of a child in early childhood. Focus on achieving and facing the challenges. And at last, once you achieve, fly them with the goals. So feel, focus, fly can be the slogan of early childhood, where like our child can enjoy his small, minute success achievements, and you are here to appreciate them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mansoor. That was really a pleasure to have you here. And I think the points that you mentioned again relates me to some of the parents that I had in UAE. Like when we are working in UAE, most of the parents, both of them are working, the mother and the father both. So what exactly we have seen, and when they come for the parents teachers meeting, sometimes we feel that incidence is very funny. The reason is parents says that I don't know what my child is doing in the school. So that's what exactly we're talking about, that definitely parents should be the one who is aware about that what the child is doing in the school for 6 to 8 hours and what is happening and how the child is progressing from one level to the other. So definitely that needs to be a thoughtful for the parents, not just only taking the responsibility or blaming the responsibility of taking care on the teachers. So definitely that has to be something looked by the parents.
Can I have
thank you so
one
much,
second?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, my son, he's a toddler, and like when he came back to school, he's Beacon House, so he didn't like enjoy his lunch. So I just went to teach her what's wrong with my son, and like he's enjoying going to school. He said that he's moody. I said every child is moody. It's a job of a teacher to make him friendly. Yes, and don't check him that he was taking lunch. First, make a friendship with him, then you're going to win the heart. So obviously, like your emotions, your friendly interaction matters a lot to win the heart of the child.
Yes, and at that time, I
Thank
believe
you.
SEL again plays a major role when it comes to building that connections with the kids. So definitely that's something the teachers has to look forward to. Thank you so much, sir, for your words and taking time for being with us and making this event to be success. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. Yes, now I'll move to our next esteemed speaker, who is from South Africa, Professor Dr. Ambassador Mehreen Mia. And I have heard her a lot in our previous sessions. So definitely I know that how much inspirational and insightful is it going to be. Professor Mehreen is an educator, a leader, a social activist, international speaker, ambassador of many global platforms coming from South Africa. So let's have again some insightful thoughts from her as well. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much for that very warm introduction, and lovely to see you again, my sister. Greetings to everyone in the universal greeting of peace and blessings. I love the topic. I love what every single speaker has said thus far. I think every one of us has some takeaway, no matter what profession or how level of profession we are in education. We will continuously be learning. So when we talk about today's topic, remember that also engages with us as lifelong learners, because I, for one, am one. So when you look at yourself and you know that I do not know everything, I'm continuously a lifelong learner, you know that that needs to be implemented in our children from those early ages, from the early ages of being out of your hand and out of your rope in your home. The one key factor for me before I go into actually talking about it is everyone has talked about how important it is at that age. But remember, before the child is leaving your home to get to the creche or to get to the preschool environment, that child is a sponge of you as the parent first. And when I say a sponge, I mean everything about you this child is sponging off, even your emotion, whether it be positive or negative, the issues that you have around you, whether it be positive or negative, your verbal actions and reactions. This child is sponging off everything that is in your space before the child leaves home. So when the child is getting to the daycare or to the creche or to the early childhood experiences outside of your control, ask yourself as a parent who's watching us right now, what have I given to my child as this child has sponged off me to equip them in the space they're going to? Because then when the teacher is going to call you and say, I don't understand this about your child's behavior, don't take it as an insult of you being parenting, and don't take it as the teacher is at fault. Understand that this is a growth process from your child developing from your space, which was controlled by you, which could have been miscalculated and gone into a space now that is controlled by the teacher. But the key is to work together for the holistic formation and development of this little child. Because this little child's entire life is not just in the hand of a teacher. It's in the hand of every one of us. Every one of us, as in our families, the communities, every one of us play a small part in the growth and development of our children, especially in those early childhood stages. When I see a child walking around outside, for example, and they're coming out of school or wherever, and I'm waiting for someone else, I greet. Children love to greet. Children love interaction. That's why we keep teaching children don't talk to strangers, right? But ask yourself, you are standing there and this child loves to greet you. What is the child teaching you? Warmth, affection? Maybe there's this openness in their home. Maybe this child is looking for that affection that is not at home. But that we will be able to see, because this is what we've studied, is what we know as professionals. But this is the child. Any child at that age group, this is defining the child. So we know that early childhood education is critical in any child's life, because that is actually their foundation. It's the foundation of their future, and it's also the foundation for their success. And we know that when we're going to invest in this early childhood education program, that has to be quality instead of quantity. The quality education program at the childhood phase is what's going to have a positive impact on that child's future life. And when I speak about life, I'm talking about academic, I'm talking about social, and I'm talking about emotional development. That already shows you the holistic development and educational role of the child in their future. We want the children to continue to love to learn. We don't want them to stop loving learning at any point, because life is going to always teach them to keep learning how to cope. If we're not going to inculcate in them, why is it important for you to have the love for learning? They're going to throw it out a window. And the one thing I would like to pause to tell every parent or everyone who's watching, your devices that you give to your child are not going to be what fills the gap. The device that your child is holding is not a replacement of you. So stop giving them the devices to give them the alternative to you, because you're busy. Time is a gift for your child. Time is a gift as much as the child is a gift to you. So giving your child a little bit of time, especially in that age bracket, is so crucial for that child to understand mentorship, to understand I can be okay with other people, instead of lingering and trying to be a leech to understand and to get attention from others. So we know that early childhood education is important, like I said, holistically, because it improves multiple issues. It improves your academic performance. So a child who is attending this early childhood education program is probably more likely to perform better in a school, have better literacy, have better numeracy skills, and also they will be less likely to repeat a grade as opposed to another. Another important factor about early childhood education and programs that our children can get involved in is that it enhances their social skills. And we know right now that is the key, because social skills embodies multiple things. They need to learn how to relate to their peers. They need to learn how to relate to the people around them, as in the teachers around them. They need to relate to how they will react to a stranger approaching them in a diplomatic way. So there's many different ways socially that we have to teach our children, and a lot comes from this childhood education in early stages. Important factor with many speakers have spoken about is the emotional development of our children. We cannot stress that anymore. And especially right now, I've seen it. I'm sure everyone on this platform, and even yesterday, have seen this in our children. The emotional development is at an all-time low, because we're so engulfed in this rat race as the parents, as even the educators, because the educators out there are not just teaching anymore. They suddenly have to become psychologists. They also have to become the police officer to make sure there's no issues that, they're not sick. They're becoming doctors to make sure that the temperature, fever, everything is okay. So teachers have to become everything. So they've compounded their lives into this rat race that they can't focus on what they're supposed to be doing. Parents have just left it all in terms of the teacher's there, the teacher is there, it's their responsibility. So who's to be held accountable for this child's academia, for this child's development holistically, for this child's mental wealth and wellness? Who is accountable for that? Can we hold a little child accountable for their mental health? No, clearly not, because they're sponging off whatever's around them. So we as the adults need to take a couple steps back and be realistic. Be realistic about what exactly are you doing? How are you benefiting? If not benefiting, what can you do to make the change? The key for that, of course, is for us to be aware. Like we would love for our children to have this emotional development, because we know that they need to be in touch with their emotional intelligence. They need to build a sense of resilience. They need to be critical in their skills that they develop for success in their lives. But that doesn't just stem from us teaching it to them on a chalkboard or showing it to them in a textbook. They need to see it to be you leading by example. That's what they sponge off. Like they would like to sponge off a story that you would read to them. They like to see it visually. That's why they love selfies. Even a little kid in a kindergarten loves to take a selfie, right? They know about all of these things. But why do they love it? Because they love the visual. So the visual of you as being the leading example is also key for your child and for the development. Now remember, we want to provide strong foundations for our children, because this is key for them to succeed in the school lives. Also for them to develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, because when we have to think of why the sense of education at that level is so important, we have to remember that we are shaping the future success of this child with the program that we are implementing at that early stage. So when you're investing in an early childhood education program, it's not that you're just dealing with a specific phase, you're dealing with an entire life. And it's not only beneficial for that child or that child's family. The growth of that child and development of the child is also the growth and development of the society the child is going to come from. And by providing children with this foundation that they need to succeed, we are going to then be able to help create brighter futures for everybody. Why? Because we teach them skills. We're teaching them skills of lifelong learning. And this learning begins not only in that classroom or in the playground. That learning begins at birth. The child starts to learn at birth, and it continues over the lifespan. And we all know that science has shown us early years in critical brain development is so crucial. From birth onwards, children's experiences, their opportunities that they go through, all of these are foundational skills that they go through to endure themselves as they build their social development skills. This is what creates their awareness of a self. And that's key for us to teach very early. That sense of self-awareness, that sense of being able to recognize something's wrong with me. I need to be able to deal with this and how. We might not be able to give them full-on empowerment skills at that age, but we can teach them recognition of how they're feeling, getting in touch with their emotion, who to go to when certain emotions are hitting you. What do these emotional concepts actually mean? So that they can identify when they're feeling it, when something is like this, when something is like that. They know who is the go-to space. They need to learn to trust, but not just trust the educator, not just trust the parent. They need to learn to trust in themselves. That again comes from the self-awareness, from them being able to recognize and realize what the emotions are, and then push on to realize how to interact about that emotion. That way we can even curb bullying coming on forward, because it starts with that negating aspect, that swallowing up and not dealing with the issues. If we can curb that and allow for kids at that age to start to identify small things, and we are there to help them to grow through them, then we can definitely help to curb whatever issues we are finding in the high schools now, like the bullying, like the cyberbullying, like the things that are happening where the kids are fighting with each other, etc., etc. So there's a lot. But I'm going to end by just showing you one thing. When we talk about learning skills, especially for children and students, we know that there's 4 C's, lots of us, we use the 4 C's, right? So we're talking about C for critical thinking, we're talking about creative thinking, we're talking about communicating and collaborating. Those are the 4 C's, correct? When we're doing workshops to deal with actual lifelong skills, when you're talking corporate level, when you're talking other means to adults, and we're teaching them what their lifelong skills are, there's a list that's endless. But in that list is critical thinking, communication skills, decision-making processes, creative thinking, interpersonal relationships, self-awareness. These are things that we're telling adults to do, to learn skills. But go back to the 4 C's that I just mentioned. Those 4 C's are already in the early childhood program. So imagine if we cut off those 4 C's at that stage already, what kind of growing process, beautiful growing process the children will have as they endure primary school, into high school, into university, into life, because the skills started developing at that age. So remember, life skills education for kids is so crucial, and it's going to help them address the needs firstly of themselves, because we're showing them empowerment at that age, that they have control of who they are that early, because they do. Let's not underestimate our kids at that age. And we need to help in motivating them. We need to help in providing them with practical and cognitive, emotional, social, and self-management skills. These are big words, and many might say to me, well, it's too much for a child at that age. No. Depending on how we facilitate it in the learning programs that they're going through, it's not. Those are skills that we are trying to make children try and envelop too late, as far as I see it. And if we can throw it into the programs that age on, we're already developing skills in them that are beautiful for them to become empowered adults who can lead their societies, their communities, and their families better. So I'm going to stop there and say thank you to everybody. Thank you, IIU. Thank you to Prof. Thank you, Nada, and everybody else that I'm seeing here. I can't mention everybody by name, but it really is an honor to have graced the platform. And thank you so much for the opportunity. God bless everyone. Chandani, I can't hear you. You are muted, dear.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Merin. And with the claps in the audience and the happy faces, we can make it out how interesting your talk was. And definitely your discussion was thought-provoking for all of us, and which clearly mentions that how long-lasting the teachers and the parents have to be careful when we talk about the early childhood. And definitely your exceptional abilities to communicate with all of us in a concise and understandable manner, especially the people like me who are very new to this, the early childhood scenarios and all. Definitely it has created a long-lasting impact for all of us. So once again, thank you so much for your illuminating conversation, and I really appreciate your presence for the event. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, now moving to our next and I guess the last speaker for the day, and someone coming from the IIU itself. So let's welcome Professor General Abrio, and who is a Vice Chancellor from IIU, Nigeria. So let's welcome, and sir, stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, my able moderator, Kidani. God could expand your knowledge. You have tried so much. I need to also appreciate all the speakers. They did a good work. May God come to sustain you all and empower you. I don't have much to say, but later I will say you appreciate me. I thank God for our able IIU, Sir Pandit. We thank God for his life, for giving us this good program. Actually, I need to appreciate our sister, our research center president. Kudos to you. You have been trying. God going to sustain you. I thank God for my able friend, Padita, Professor Padita. He has been trying so much. Thank God for you. He invited me to this program. I appreciate every one of you. This international conference is a powerful one. It's for our early childhood education, the starting process of lifelong learning. When we look at this, it's a very good one. It's a very powerful one. It makes one to be responsible. When you are not responsible, that means you don't have anything you are doing. You're not creating value. Value, impartation of value is very important in life. If value is not added to one's education, one is useless. I could remember when I was a kid, I knew how my parents helped me out. That was why I'm here talking to you all, because my parents actually took me to school. I went to school. When I was small, even right from baby, my parents would be talking to my father would be talking to me inside my mommy's belly. When I was a baby, look at that. We start from that stage. The way we behave, the way we do things, the way we sustain ourselves matters. So what are we saying? Like in Nigeria, yeah, there are a lot of things going on. We enjoy it. But now, the children, I pity them. It is we who are parents do what? We sponsor them. I was so happy hearing from Indian, from Soto age to Soto, how they give them free education, give them free. People on Saturday, there will be an election. We're going to bring in good government who will give us what we have been enjoying in education. So I need to appreciate every one of us, appreciate our government, Nigeria. Let me give my talk also, so as to crown everything up. Early childhood education is an important children, both formal and informal, from birth up to the age of 8. It is called nursery education. Nursery education. It is an important period in child development. This is an enlightenment stage. This has been improved to increase high school graduation rates, improve performance on standardized tests. Early child education, it reduces both grade and repetition and the number of children placed in special education. Early child education contributes to a higher level of cognitive development in language, mathematics, in non-verbal reasoning skills. Children enrolled in early childhood education increase their IQ scores by 4 to 11 points by age. Early child education courses is all about future educators to inspire young learners and create a supportive environment that stimulates their curiosity and enjoy for learning. Early child education is a good course because the course is suitable for anyone wishing to start a career in a child care, and it provides starting point to the formal qualification required for working in this sector. There are 3 C's in early child education. What are the 3 C's? 1, creativity, critical thinking, and new ideas. We need to impart it to our children. By the time we do that, I'm telling you, they will be an extraordinary child or children. 2, curiosity, desire to learn. We should be able to impart it to them, to have that zeal to learn. The 3, courtesy, that is politeness in one's attitude and behavior towards others. We need to inculcate it to our children. By the time we do that, I am telling you, our children will be an extraordinary child. This fosters young students lifelong enthusiasm for the learning and give them the foundation to succeed. Early child education ensures each child is valued, respected, feels safe to secure and develop a position self-concepts. Early child education enables a sound foundation for physical and motor development of each child as per each child's potential. Early child education sets its foundation for lifelong learning behavior and health. The experiences children have in early child shape the brain and allow with others and to respond to daily stresses and challenges. We know what we face during the day. By the time you impart it to the children, I am telling you, they don't need to look at stress. Stress is nothing. Stress is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to express yourself. So they will look at it that the challenges we are passing through, only some of us we have passed through that challenge when we are inside the womb. We are coquetted with that. So based on that, it's not new for us. We are able to surmount it because we have that idea. We have been inspired to know what is ahead of us. So based on that, we move in that line, in that stream. Children teaching early childhood education in Nigeria to young children provide a strong footing for their development. A strong footing for their development. Teaching early childhood education helps to build a child's cognitive, physical, social, and emotional proficiency, which will prepare them for a life challenge.
Professor Charles, are you there? I guess some network issues.
Yes, he has a bad network. Let's wait a minute.
Yeah.
We lost him. Yeah. Chandani, we lost him.
Should we wait for him to rejoin or we can proceed?
We can proceed. So if he come back, we will put him.
Yeah, okay, fine. Anyways, thank you so much, Professor Charles, for being with us today. And it was always a pleasure to have you on this platform and sharing your thoughts. So definitely we all have enjoyed your speech. So thank you so much, sir. Now, my responsibilities are soon getting over, so I'll just move to the final conclusion for the day. And before I hand over to Ms. Nada, I think Professor Nada is going to be again sharing her thoughts as a final conclusion. And for me, it has been a very first experience, especially at the platform of IIU, to be a moderator. But definitely, I have absolutely had a pleasure to be part of this webinar on childhood education. And we had discussed various aspects of crucial stages in the child's life and how it has been impactful for their future growth and development. And we have already seen the opinions and the thoughts and the views that were coming from different parts of the world. So definitely it has been a really, really an amazing experience for me for being with this platform and as a moderator, definitely. So we all know that we all have to play a role in ensuring that every child has an access to quality early childhood education, and regardless of their economic, social economic background, actually we can say. And it is really, it is only through the collective efforts, I believe, as many of the esteemed speakers also said about, that it's not only the teachers, but it is a joint venture of the teachers, parents, and then we can uplift the child. So it was really an inspiring session for me. And let's all of us join hands together to take in action and support the initiatives to prioritize the early childhood education. Let's all work together to build a better world for our children. Thank you so much, everyone else, also as a speaker and as an audience, for joining us today. And I hand over my duties, my part from me to Professor Nada. So yes, Professor Nada.
Let's first give a big clap to our great Professor Chandani for her amazing work today. You were outstanding, incredible. So you see everything what you are doing that excellent, and you are an excellent educator, and you see you can be a great moderator, and not a moderator, a master of the ceremony. These 2 days were really amazing. We have yesterday from all around the globe so many estimated speakers, experts, educators, and all were giving their insights, brilliant insights. And when we joined all that insights, we get a great conclusion. We want to thanks to our great Professor Pradipta, for the president of Global Community Group, our great Sir Piyush Pandit, for giving us this opportunity. Here is Professor Charles. He is back, so we will give him to finish his speech. He's coming. I will thanks to our Sir Piyush for this great platform, our great Dr. Snikta Kadam, our chairperson, Professor Nada. Also, I want to thank. So, Professor Charles, are you audible? We are waiting you. He joined us. Professor Charles, unmute yourself. Professor Charles.
Oh, there you are.
Professor Charles, we lost you. You are here again.
Yes, I'm here again.
Okay, so you can finish, Professor Charles.
Thank you very much. Just as I was saying, education enables a sound foundation for physical and motor development for each child as per each child's potential. Child education sets its foundation for lifelong learning, behavior, and health. Experiences children have in early childhood brain and along with others, and to respond to daily stresses and challenges. Teachers teaching early child education in Nigeria to young children provide a strong footing for their development. Teaching early childhood education helps to build a child cognitive, physical, social, and emotional proficiency, which will prepare them for a life challenges. And it will make the child to be curious to learning at early stage. It does also the following for the children: eagerness to learn, encouraging holistic development, boost self-confidence, enhance attention span, improve social skills. Early child education promote the key area of child or children development. What are the key area of a child development? 1, gross motor skills in the area of crawling, jumping, and running. 2, fine motor skills in the area of writing and drawing. 3, speech and language, how they express themselves, how they speak, it helps them a lot. 4, cognitive and intellectual in the area of what? Counting and identifying shapes. The 5th one, the social and emotional skills, playing with other children. Look at that. But the time a child will fail to meet them up or give them this area, you're so surprised they will be different when they now grow with other children. They will be isolating themselves. That is why this is key. Early child education promotes the master tools for a child care. What are the master tools? There are 3 A's. What are the 3 A's? Attention. You see that area, you will then be making sure that you put smiles under that child. A child that is not taught how to smile I am telling you, that child will be so dull. That is why it starts from that stage. And also approval in the area of having positive regard for persons, appreciating them, that they have done right. Look at that. Appreciate little effort, little thing done. They must appreciate them. By the time they grow up with that area, you see they will be so intelligent. The third one is approval. Approval in the sense that builds trust and self-confidence. Whatever thing they do, try to approve it. As far as it's good, you see that they will be working, they will be doing it fine, and it will be part of them. When they now grow up, they will be using it. And the third one, the third master tool for a child care is affection. Affection, the area of kind words, smiles, gentle touching. You touch them gently, you make them happy. Compliment, giving them compliment to express affection. Look at that. The important things I want us to know in the area of childhood education, lack of parental involvement, engagement, and communication, very key. That is the problem we have. That's why the parents should be up and doing. The second one we should look at is the area of escalating rate of teachers burnout. Look, we know we have a lot of challenges, most especially in Nigeria, challenges here and there, the area of stress, the area of mental health concern, the area of lack of resources, the area of low level of compensation, and ever evolving technology and self-concern. These are so key, but thank God, it depends on the management. It depends on how the country leaders manage affairs that determine, most especially the Minister of Education. We are praying that good people will come on board. By the time they come, transformation will come into Nigeria. Other countries, I quite appreciate all what has been said so far. For instance, the challenges of early child education in Nigeria, just as I was saying, is poor infrastructure facilities, poor teacher salary, inadequate implementation of early child curriculum. Also, employment of qualified and incompetent teachers with little or no in-depth knowledge of early child developmental appreciate practices. In your area of corruption, looking at that, I know there will be transformation. Everything has to do with the management. Election is coming, good people will emerge, and everything will come to perfection, just like what we had from India, from Canada, from other countries, how they have been helping their children. Look at that, parents. So it is worthwhile to also know that lifelong learning is the concept of pursuing additional education and the development of further skills beyond an individual's formal and compulsory education. It is generally voluntary and self-motivated based on the pursuit to learn morals, gain new skills, and support professional development. In conclusion, with the early child education, we should ensure each child is valued, respected, feel safe and secure, and develop a positive self-concept by using the 3 styles of teaching children. What are the 3 styles? Directing, which promote learning through listening and following direction. 2, discussion or discussing, which promote early learning through interaction. We need to put interaction. The third one is delegating, which promote learning through empowerment. That empowerment is needed. By the time they are empowered, I am telling you, no challenges that they cannot face. Finally, using an appropriate mix of each teaching styles and summary. Early child education starts from parents. So parents, let us take charge of our responsibility. Let us teach our children morals. In future, we are going to reap what we have done, and God will come to help us for this process. May God come to strengthen our IU. May God come to help every one of us so that we will be able to do what we have said, not just to say, but to act on it. And God will bless us. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much, Professor Lada.
Thank you. Thank you, our amazing Vice Chancellor, for this powerful speech at the end. Without Professor Charles, we cannot have an amazing event. He is, for us in IIU, the #1. Professor Charles, great work. Big clap for you and for your powerful speech and message, because our Professor Charles is expert in every field. Welcome.
Thank you.
So What to say? Already before Professor Charles, with thanks to all, I want to say that this international conference on early childhood education, the starting process of lifelong learning, really rocked today. And the Global Community for Education 2030 with IIU and IIU Research Center. Please be prepared, because we are coming very soon. We are preparing our next event, our International Conference on Education for Sustainable Development. And thank you, lovely audience, for being with us these 2 days, listening, writing your comments. So please keep reflecting, learning, collaborating, enjoying, and being nice to yourself, to your students, to your family, and to all around. Thank you all for active participation. Dear audience, you are all invited to write your reviews. Please write your reviews and share us your screenshots to get your e-certificate. That is very important. That is very important. And I want to say a few words at the end, like a science. Today, science shows that life is a story for which the beginning sets the tone. That makes the early years of childhood a time of great opportunity, but also a great risk. Children's brains are built moment by moment, and they are interacting with their environments. In the first few years of life, more than 1 million neural connections are formed each second, and a pace is never repeated again. So the quality of child's early experience makes a critical difference, and if the brains are developing, providing them the strong, weak foundations for learning, health, behavior through the life. Take care of your children. Take care of the children who are not your children, because we know that we have so many children who are living in very hard environment. They don't have the main things for the life. Help, always help the people, and think also on the people who help you, because you need a help, and try to help others. Today, amazing day. I repeat again, all were brilliant. Also today, we had a birthday. We celebrate a birthday of our great Dr. Frolian Di Mobo. Once again, Dr. Frolian Mobo, continue with your great work. Have a great celebration. We in IIU Research Center, in Global Community for Education 2030, are thinking on each one person, sharing our love from the bottom of the heart. So, till our next event, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a blessed Sunday. Thank you all, and see you very soon. Bye.